Welcome to the very first episode of Paranormal Payphone. I'm Brandon.
And I'm Steve.
Tonight, we're opening a line into the unknown, a place where unanswered questions linger, strange encounters refuse to be forgotten, and reality isn't always as solid as we think it is.
Listen, guys, this is a show about the paranormal. And that's a word that gets thrown around a lot, but rarely explained. So we're going to do our best to do that. And by definition, paranormal refers to experiences or phenomena that exist outside of what science currently understands. Things that don't really fit into the rules of the natural world or fit into the box that we want to put them in.
That's right, Steve. We've got ghost sightings, unexplained voices, shadow people, UFOs, cryptid, maybe a squatching or two. Events that feel real, personal, and deeply unsettling.
Now, this is going to be the place where you can share these stories, and we want to hear from you guys. So if you have a story that fits into any of these, you can call and leave us a voicemail at 615-431-9003 or send us an email to paranormalpayphone@gmail.com, and we're going to get those stories out to the world where we can learn a little, laugh a little, and just get a little creepy. So the question I have for you today, Brandon, is what is the difference between a supernatural and a paranormal? What does that mean to you?
Well, I feel like a supernatural phenomenon are often tied to religion, right? Either some kind of mythology or some kind of belief system, gods, demons, angels, curses, and that's lowercase gods, right? The paranormal, on the other hand, lives in the gray area. It's not necessarily divine or demonic. It's just something that we really can't explain. So paranormal meaning not normal, beyond normal, supernatural being something that we can't explain, really.
So you would go paranormal being something that's outside of like the normal limits, but supernatural being something that just is almost unexplainable by anything.
Exactly.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Now, this is a real exciting time for us.
It's 2 years in the making, nearly.
Probably 2 years in the making. You're right about that. We are a couple go-getters. We're really getting after it.
We've been hustling big time to get this thing off the ground.
You know, it has been a intense labor of love. We spent a lot of time talking about reptile people, and now here we are.
We're doing it.
That's right. Now, I'm going to throw this out there again. This is my sales pitch for everybody, okay? If you've had these experiences, if you've had these encounters, we want to know about them. This is a safe space for you to be able to share this, and you can do it at 615-431-9003. If you want to be anonymous, just throw the voicemail there. If you want to be a little bit more anonymous,
There it is.
you can send us an email at paranormalpayphone@gmail.com, and we're going to get these stories out. We've already got a couple voicemails. We got a couple guests lined up already. So I'm excited to get on this journey together with you.
Yeah, this is great. We've been so pumped and so excited for this moment, and we've been talking for so long of actually putting this together. So, and it's happening. It's becoming a reality, and there's so much that goes on that people don't have a platform to talk about, or they get made fun of, ridiculed, what have you. And so there's a lot of stories out there that we don't get, and we want to be that platform.
Well, and it's one of those things where if you sit down to sign your divorce papers and the lawyer is telling you about the reptile person he saw the other day, you're going to think twice about that settlement offer coming your way, And so it is a thing where a lot of people are scared to talk about this stuff because there is a little bit of a narrative that goes along with it. I know that, in my youth, me being a much more seasoned individual nowadays, in my youth, I did a lot of ghost hunting, and a lot of people gave me a look as one way or another about it. Did you have any experiences coming up where you saw some things or were out in the world, maybe looking for a squatch or a Loch Ness monster of sorts?
There's been a few things in there that I just can't explain. and that has piqued my interest so much more. But for me, my whole journey into this paranormal world started when I was probably 7 or 8 years old. Being an 80s kid, it's the peak time really for the horror films, like the beginning of like all the slasher movies. And I had a a great aunt and uncle, and by great I mean they were great people, still are. But they introduced me to these things when I was young. There's about 10 years difference between us in age, and they started out by telling me ghost stories.
Yeah.
Perfect to tell a 7 or 8 year old to scare them to death, so you have to sleep in the bed with them.
Absolutely.
You know, and you up and screaming and scared to go to the bathroom, and so they hit me early with that. Introduced me to all those horror movies, the slashers, and that's where I'm at, man.
Yeah.
And that's never gone away.
I just like that you clarified that they're still alive. Like
Yeah.
you were, it was really sketchy for a minute there.
Yeah, and they're gonna love that because acting like they're dead for a second. I knew I was coming off really.
You're like, they were great people. I was like, oh,
they
this
were
took.
great people. Yeah, they actually visit me every night in my room.
I was like, this took a dark turn already. Like it didn't take long for us to get there.
Episode 1, here we are.
Yeah, but no, it is interesting because I grew up also around the time, a little bit younger than you.
Just a tad.
Just a little bit, and so I did grow up around that time, and I do have memories of watching Chucky far too early in life.
Yeah.
My dad was big into the Universal monsters, so
But
watching all those things.
yeah, not to step on you, but Chucky, how scared did you not think that you could take this doll?
I had some questions at times. I was a little sickly at a time. There, some of those movies, those were tough spots to be in. You think about a little creature, 16 to 18 inches tall, with a knife coming at you. He's gonna get me eventually. Like he's gonna creep up on me. That's all that matters.
Yeah, a demonically possessed doll at that.
Yeah, let's not throw that out there.
Yeah.
All right, so Chucky, is that supernatural, paranormal?
I think that's a paranormal, but you're going demonic.
But
so
you're
I
going
think
demonic.
You're going demonic, and so I think you may cross that line. You may blur that line and hit the supernatural world there.
It lives in both worlds.
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like the spork of.
Yeah, it's a sport.
Yeah, it's a little bit of both.
Chucky's a little sport.
Yeah.
Be careful. I don't want him running around here.
That's
Even though
right.
I'm a lot bigger now, he's still,
I feel like I'm a lot bigger, but for some reason I feel slower.
Yeah.
So he's gonna get me. Like at a certain point, I'm gonna be like, you know what? We've had a good run.
He's got great footwork.
Great footwork.
Yeah.
Slow feet don't eat. That's what they
That's
say.
right. That's what they say.
So you grew up watching the slasher films.
Yep.
Did you ever see anything that you couldn't explain? Anything that popped out at you?
I had some things as a kid, probably 12, 13 years old, that I do remember. And, it's like I struggle with, I was home alone, and was this like figments of my imagination, or was this really there was something roaming my house, or, making these noises. I've had heard my name before that's like whispered in a room, in a house by myself.
Was it a seductive whisper or was it just a regular whisper?
I heard it and I bolted. I didn't process it.
All right.
So
listen, I respect it, but I mean, a good
seductive.
you might have got me.
Yeah.
It is interesting though, because it does seem like a lot of this stuff hits when you're younger.
Yeah.
I've read multiple stories online and multiple things talking about using your pets and children as almost a fire alarm or a carbon monoxide detector for this stuff, because that veil is thin for them. When I find it fascinating. And that's one of the things I think that eventually we're going to get into and we're going to find out a little bit more about is why is that?
Yeah. Do you think that's more of that they're more vulnerable at that age, or at a younger age, and I don't know about the animals. I think they can see things that we can't.
Oh, for sure.
I had a cat one time that was always just staring at the ceiling and following things around in my house, and it really freaked me out. So I'd shut the cat up in the room.
Well, I just think about like drug dogs that walk through. I don't know. I went to a public high school up in the north, and so every few weeks the drug dogs would come through the lockers and I'm like, I don't smell any weed in here, and then it's like, oh, there's a lot right there. Like, so you think they're more in tune and they have heightened senses for things, so it would make sense that they're able to pick up on some of this stuff. I mean, it's a rough analogy between ghosts and weed, but I feel like we got it there,
Tales from the Hood.
Tales from the Hood. What was that, Leprechaun 5,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things I think is most interesting, one of the things that I would like for us to do with this show is give people a place where they can get these stories out.
Yeah, a judgment-free zone.
A judgment-free zone. And that's a great way of saying it, because we talk a lot about the different health statuses that we have. That we have our, like 60s, 70s, 80s, like it was a big push for like physical health. Like, 90s, same thing. Like, I'm looking at you right now. I know you had a Thigh Master.
Oh, you can bet your bottom dollar
That's right.
I had one of those.
Did you ever have, this is an off-topic thing, I had an aunt. She was real big into this. It was like a mat that you would put these little booties on and like slide like you were skating.
Like you were ice skating?
Like you were ice skating. Did you ever do that?
No, I never did that. I was always afraid I'd break my ankles.
I'm here to tell you that there was a lot of close calls on that thing, and it was a very poor decision to allow us on that. But for some reason, she was real big into it. But it was a thing of the 90s. Like, it was get healthy, right?
Right.
Come to like the 2000s, 2010s, and we did all the mental health focus. Like, it became a big thing. All valid. Love it. Like, let's take care of our mental health. Everywhere from our workplaces to churches, like, everyone's talking about it, making sure it's right. But the one thing that we're not taking care of is this spiritual health.
That's right.
This health involving the things that we don't necessarily understand. A lot of people are carrying around this trauma of seeing these things and just have no place to go with it.
Yeah, and they're either ridiculed if they try to start, discussing it with somebody. They're just craving attention. They're, for whatever, being judged on this. And maybe being labeled as crazy man at the end of the street.
Sure.
That, he go talk to him. He's seen X, Y, and Z. And there's a real stigma attached to people that have had these encounters. And there's not a lot of places they can go to talk without being made feel like they're, there's something wrong with them.
Yeah. And the fact of the matter is, hundreds of thousands of people have these encounters every year. And the fact that they don't share it means that they just feel isolated and alone. And that's the worst part about it.
That's kind of like people that have had traumatic experiences in other facets, whether it's some kind of abuse, in many different forms, and they hold that in for so long, and it just destroys them.
Yeah.
So, and looking back from the beginning of time, from recorded history, there's all kinds of paranormal and supernatural things that have happened from the Garden of Eden to, I think, Atlas 3I is passing Earth here very soon. There's no telling what's going to happen with that.
And that's the thing is even if you look at the Bible, it's nothing more than a historical context book. You have no faith in Jesus or anything, and you just look at it from a historical standpoint. Wild stuff was recorded, and every religion, every culture has these wild stories of things that have happened. To think that those just stopped one day because we got a Xerox machine. Like, that's not the way it happens. Like, The minute Henry Ford pulled a Model T off the line didn't mean that ghosts went away. It didn't mean that reptile people stopped
Yeah.
existing. It didn't mean Sasquatch was like, oh, my job here is done, boys, and take off.
Going off to the other dimension.
That's right. So it is interesting to think that like all these things have been recorded throughout time, and we take that with a grain of salt. But when we think, okay, did that happen now? It's like, well, clearly that can't happen now, right? So this is a space for you guys to share those stories. We're going to share some of our own. We're going to have some guests, and we're going to have some interviews. And what we really want to do is give you space to share your stories. So whether you leave us a voicemail, send us an email, hit us up on socials, anything you can do to get that story to us, we'll keep you as anonymous or as anonymous as you would like to be. What would be your favorite of the supernatural paranormal stories? Like, what's the thing that's like gets Brandon out of bed in the morning?
I have a lot of questions, like the alien phenomena.
Okay.
I have a lot of questions, and that really piques me because it's like, what's really happening?
Before you go on, gray or green? Where is your stance on this?
Growing up, I always thought the green.
Okay.
When Mars attacks, I'm thinking that
Mars,
kind of thing out here.
Mars Attacks is phenomenal.
It's great.
That's a good pull. That's a good pull. Go ahead.
That's a good one. But now the older I get and the more I look at it, I'm thinking like the grays, the tall grays, the what is it? The whites.
Yeah. Not the ones from West Virginia.
Not the ones.
No,
from
not those.
Yeah, you gotta watch those hill people. We love all people though.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I also love a good Squatch story.
Who doesn't love a good Squatch story?
I just envision him, her, whatever it is, that like a Harry and the Hendersons, just this big, jolly, friendly.
Yeah. First off, majestic.
Oh, yes.
A Squatch basically screams bald eagle American flag.
Yes,
it is a very majestic thing. I love a Squatch.
Yeah.
The thing I find the most fascinating about the Squatch stories is not all of them end poorly.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stories of people who would get found, saved, rescued by a Sasquatch, taken in out of a storm. And I think that's the most fascinating thing, is because a lot of the encounters that we have, like sometimes they're not bad, but sometimes they are bad. Not all of them are bad with the Sasquatch, and I find that very interesting. I love a Sasquatch. I also enjoy some of like the weird mystic style, like I went down this mermaid rabbit trail not too long ago, and I was in. Like, it's just, I find it fascinating to think that like that's another one where hundreds and hundreds of years of people reporting these things, and all of a sudden we're like, those are just dolphins. It's like, maybe.
Yeah.
But if one of them isn't?
Not all of these stories are fake. They're not fabricated, made up. And it only takes one, and it blows everything wide open.
It only takes one.
Yeah.
It's like everything else. It takes one to change everything. I think that's the thing that makes me the most excited about what we're doing here, is all it takes is one of these stories to be true, and this is going to be a spot where you can get that story out there. There are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of documented haunted places, documented strange events that happen in areas. We live here in the Middle Tennessee area. Right to the north of us is the Land O'Lakes, Kentucky, which is known for a lot of different things.
A lot of squatches, dogman, all kinds of things going on up there.
You head down to Louisiana and the swamps, there's a lot of that stuff down there as well. And to think that like there are all these people that are having very similar encounters, but no one's talking.
Yeah, it's like, and when those stories, for the most part, get told, it's, like, well, go talk to Uncle Si about what he saw down at the swamp yesterday, and little kids just getting scared because adults don't take them serious.
Yeah.
You just think, oh, he's nuts. But it's not nuts because these things have been happening, like we said, from the beginning of time.
Absolutely. And so this is going to be the space for you guys to share those stories and get that stuff out. And I know you're going to be like, man, I'm so sick of hearing this number, but we're going to get it out one more time for you. It's 615-431-9003. Send us your story. Let us hear it. We'll get it out there, and we'll just have something that we can talk about and share. Not everything has to be so serious. Not everything has to be wrapped up in this crazy level of like, we're going to have investigation. Like, fair warning, guys, if you are coming for answers, you may have come to the wrong place. We're here to have fun, to share, and just have a good time together. Get these stories out there and make sure that we can say, hey, I had that happen to me. Now, going around these different ghost hunts and random things, it was always fascinating because you would find people who had seen very similar things or gone on the same hunts. And it has always been fascinating to me, the similarities between the stories.
And that's with a lot of the phenomenon that we're discussing on this show, that some of the same things that people see here in the States, they're seeing in Europe and Asia and Russia. I know that my continents are a little jacked up there when I said Russia.
Listen.
It's late.
You didn't refer to it as the USSR, so I was like, all right, we're doing pretty good.
Soviet Union,
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of the same stories through time, too, in different spots that, something's happening.
Yeah.
And who are you going to call?
And this is the place where we're going to find out exactly who you should call. Yeah. And you should call 615-431-9003. That's who you should call. Exactly. Brandon and Steve are here at Paranormal Payphone. The other half of this is being kids of the 80s and the 90s. The payphone played a pretty pivotal part in my life.
They were everywhere.
And I don't think that my kids are ever going to have the appreciation for what the payphone was, because they were everywhere, but they were nowhere all at the same time.
Yes.
Like, if you really needed one, there was not a payphone to be found.
So was it a quarter where you were, or how much was the payphone?
It was a dime.
Wow.
And then it jacked up to 15 cents. But, like, very similar to, like, the way that things operate now. Like, if they raise the price on stamps, I will never know, because I don't know where to be looking for that information. When I send a letter to somebody, I put about $17 in stamps on there, and I just go, "Hey, I hope this works. I don't know,
Hopefully this will cover it.
I throw a few at the mailman. I say, "Here's a little something for the trouble,
something, buddy."
Yeah, a little something for your troubles.
You keep the change.
Yeah, but I remember one day. So I traveled everywhere with a dime on me because I always had to check in. Because I would be out after school. My parents had zero clue where I was at any point in time. And I can't even imagine doing that today. Can you imagine,
Could you imagine turning your kids loose and just being like, hey, be home by dark.
Yeah.
And you have no way to find them, track them. Anyway, I can remember my mom doing that, and we would be miles away
on
our bikes. And we had to kind of watch the sun.
Yeah.
Check the time. Somewhere, go in a store to check the time, and just make sure you're back before it was dark.
You want to know the craziest part of that story? Can you imagine being able to time cooking dinner to the point of knowing when the sun was going to go down?
Right.
What kind of witchcraft were they using back then? I was like, I look out and I'm just like, oh man, it's dark. How long has it been dark out?
Right.
But they're like timing up sloppy joes, like to be ready when the sun goes down so they could yell at me for not being there on time, you know?
Ringing that bell, baby.
I don't know how they got that man witch magic, but they sure figured it out. But I always had a dime on me, right?
Yeah.
And so I'd call, whatever. One day I went out and I threw the dime in, and the payphone was just like, we need a little bit more from you today. I was like, what is this? 15? Give me that dime back. So I spent the rest of the day traveling through downtown to every payphone I knew because somehow the rates raised and no one told me. And I never saw one man working on these machines, but like, you know, that was the life that I lived. And as a matter of fact, I fought getting a cell phone for a very, very, very long time. And it wasn't until I started driving. And my parents gave me a car when I was 16. We're going to clarify this a little bit. They sold that car 3 times on trade-ins, and each time the dealership said, why don't you keep it for the boy? So that tells you exactly how classy this vehicle was. This 93 Mercury Topaz was.
I was thinking it might have been a Ferrari, like a Magnum PI.
Oh, yeah, that's what they're,
Yeah.
Like, why don't you keep it for the boy? And you're just like, well, we're going to give you $800. Why don't you keep it for the boy? I'm like, oh, thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
It's going to pull in those ladies.
That's right.
Yeah.
Nothing like a white, rusty exterior with red cloth seats.
It's sexy, baby.
You know what? It was. But
and I bet you wish that you still had that today.
Part of me.
Just for a nostalgic.
Yeah.
You know, I can't speak.
So the first time I took it out, it never ran. And so I worked on it for years, like, you know, from the time I was 12 to the time I was 16. And so we take it out. I'm like, all right, I'm on my own, got my license, look at me. Car dies in the middle of a 8-lane intersection.
Oh, beautiful.
And turning lane, of course. And so I'm pushing it through the turning lane, and I get to the payphone and realize that I have not equipped my vehicle with change. I was like, you know what? I think this may be the end of payphones. This might be it right here.
Yeah, I think the drug dealers helped kill that off, right?
That and the pager.
The pager. Did you have a pager?
I didn't have a pager. I wasn't a drug dealer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I never had a pager. I had a couple of buddies that had some. They were like the cool kids, you know.
Yeah. Can you imagine something that like is only acceptable for drug dealers or doctors to wear?
Yeah.
Like it was just ends of spectrum. Like that was the only people who had pagers.
The sketchies.
Like it was drug dealers or doctors,
Yeah.
and that was it. And so, gosh, I just remember that time. And they never really had a great purpose because you always had to find.
You had to find a phone.
You had to find a phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you're calling from a random number. You know.
Yeah, I mean, unless you had one of those backpack phones or those wallet, you know, the big bag phones.
Yeah.
But you had to be. You were rolling. You were balling if you had one of those, because it's about $85 a minute.
So for sure. So I actually knew a kid when I was taking some courses at a little community school. He had a bag phone, and it was his grandfather's. He inherited the contract on it.
Oh wow!
And it was just like this giant family joke, because what was ridiculous of like a $50 phone bill in 1981 in 2005 was pretty cheap, and AT&T or whoever couldn't upgrade their systems because they had to honor this man's contract. And so it was always funny because he would be on the phone with them. He'd be on the bag phone in class. And he's like, you're going to give me $1,000 in credits towards my bill? Nah, I think I'm going to keep this bag phone.
Oh, that's funny. In the middle of class, huh?
In the middle. Well, I mean.
Yeah, the coolest kid in school.
It kind of was. I'll be honest with you. I was like, you know what? I like this. I bet you that man's seen a squatch in his day.
Yeah, at least one.
At least one.
Yeah.
So whether it's squatches, ghosts, goblins,
Aliens,
trolls, we want to hear about all of it. And all of it's fascinating. I know that my love and my interest for this peaked at a real early age with the Sci-Fi Channel and the random shows where they went and debunked different things, and sometimes they didn't. And so I always thought it was super fascinating, super interesting, and it has only grown my interest throughout time. And this is really a wild time we're in. It seems like the veil's thin, things are happening, people are seeing more, and people are starting to feel a little bit more comfortable sharing. But they just need a place to do it.
Where could they call, Steve?
I don't know, Brandon. I think possibly 615-431-9003.
Is there another way that they can get a hold of us if they don't want to call and leave a voicemail?
I can give you a cornucopia of ways.
Oh,
just
hit
a
me with
mass
it.
variety of ways.
Let me get my pen and pencil.
You can hit us
notepad
up.
here.
Oh, you got the old school notepad
I'm going
on
to
this.
notepad.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm old school.
You can hit us up at Paranormal Payphone at gmail.com, or you can hit us on any of our socials, Paranormal Payphone, all one word, lowercase, because who's got
Why
time for
not?
capitals,
Yeah.
you know? And hit us up on those. You can shoot us any of those stories. Please give us a like, a follow, a subscribe. Anything helps. That way we can get into the algorithm a little bit better. That way your friends are seeing it, their friends are seeing it. You know, hopefully the reptile people aren't seeing it. I don't need them coming after us. But, like, you know, we want to make sure that everyone's aware that this platform's there for them.
Yeah. So, Steve, I have a question for you. Did you ever get into the, probably the early 2000s when, like, ghost hunters, when they were on the Sci-Fi Channel?
So I didn't get as into ghost hunters as I did. Do you remember MTV had a show?
Yeah. Fear.
Fear.
Yes.
I watched that a lot.
Yeah.
And
They would go and do the challenges at the haunted places. Oh my gosh, I wanted to go on that so bad.
It was ghost hunters, but they're like, let's take every level of professionalism out of the equation completely. And I was like, I'm in.
It's kind of like Ghost Hunters and Fear Factor.
Yeah.
That was I really enjoyed that show.
It was a good show.
Yeah.
So I watched that a lot. And like realistically, the jump scare. I don't know that I believe any of the stuff that happened on that show.
It's hard. It's MTV.
It's MTV.
Yeah.
So, I love the stuff they did with Teen Mom. I mean, they hit some real good strides, but like Fear was tough to believe. When you believe more stuff that happens on Teen Mom than Fear, it's tough. But that was the one I really got into.
Those are great. That was a great pull, the Teen Mom. That was not something I was expecting to hear come out of your mouth.
No? Oh,
No.
man. It was appointment viewing.
Yeah.
But that time, that weird MTV time frame was one of the best. I remember secretly watching Laguna Beach.
Oh, wow.
And then like walking into my brother's room and he's also watching Laguna Beach. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, what are you doing? It's like, for the record, we can't watch this together, right? He's like, absolutely not. And I was like, okay, good.
So was that, how much ahead of Jersey Shore was Laguna Beach?
That was a fair amount ahead.
Was it?
Yeah.
I love Jersey Shore.
You were a Jersey Shore guy.
I was a Jersey Shore guy, man. Those
see
first
that.
couple of seasons, man. And then it went into the Floribama Shore.
Tough.
Those are tough watches.
Those are tough watches,
But it's like a train wreck. You can't get away from. You got to watch it.
That's right. It's like when you come across something in the woods, when you come across something, you freeze up. You got to see what's going on. You're not proud of it, but it's something that happens, When you heard that name whispered.
Yeah. Split second. And when it happened, I was looking across the hallway, and there was did your parents ever hang like laundry on the door face to dry or instead of going outside on like a clothesline?
No, I came from like Northwest Indiana, where it's gray 90% of the time, so we
Yeah.
didn't do a whole lot of hang drying.
Hang drying. Well, that's what happened. And so when I heard my name and I looked across, the clothes on the door were swinging, and I froze for a second. Then I was like, I'm not waiting to figure this one out. I'm out of here.
Yeah, there's time to ask questions.
And I got in trouble. I remember I got in trouble because I went outside. My mom told me the one thing you're not supposed to do if you're staying by yourself, go outside. But I was afraid of what would get me inside the house. So I stayed. She was gone until like 9 o'clock. I stayed outside shooting basketball. Would not go in. For the life of me, I would not go back in the house.
That sounds awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got like 1,000 shots up that day, though.
I'm sure you did. You know, that really, that ghost is what you can credit your college career to.
Yeah.
You
Thanks. Thanks, whoever you were or whatever you were.
Yep.
Get me through college.
Well, this is a good episode. This is a good start to where we're at.
Yeah.
And I appreciate everyone joining in, coming on this journey together. If you want to get your story to us so we can share, that's one more time. We're at 615-431-9003, Paranormal Payphone at gmail.com, or on all the socials. Like, view, subscribe, all the things that everyone tells you to do. Listen, I know everybody tells you to do it, but there's a reason everyone tells you to do it, because it works. It helps. And every little bit helps. If you have a story, send it our way.
Yeah. Any way that you want it discussed, we can listen to it, discuss it, get you on a call, have you in studio, whatever. We just want to get your story out there, and we want to give you a safe space to get this off your chest, or just tell what's going on.
Absolutely. And hey, until next time.
Who you going to call?
Now you know.
Yeah.
Paranormal Payphone.